Hello, hello, hello. I hope I'm in focus. I'm shooting this thing kind of ad hoc. I'm here at the college again tonight. So kind of running, trying to make it all work. Had a really, really, really busy day today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it like this. Everyday Wealth Systems. You guys know the routine. Yep. All right, so there you go. Everyday Wealth System. Hey guys, got a really quick message. Lots going on. First, I want to ask each of you to keep my brother in prayer. He's 70. What am I? I'm 55. He's 21. So he's 76 years of age. Hospitalized. Had a mild heart attack last week or week and a half ago, and he's convalescing in a rehab. And we just ask that you lift him up in prayer. Bobby King, my oldest brother, surviving brother. Hey, man, big shout out to you. Love you. So, really, really quickly, this stuff is, I can't make it up. It's real life. Had a friend who worked in the federal government for quite a number of years and had a meeting, got really, really pissed off, and decided she'd been contemplating retiring after quite a number of years of service, and decided, you know what, they pissed me off. The heck with this. I'm out of here. And so she gave her a formal letter of retirement. And as we were having conversations about this, she seemed to be a little stressed, represented it like it was really cool and everything was okay, but then was kind of stressed and kind of picked up on it. It's like, well, you really made this decision. You sound like you're really okay with it, but on the other hand, there seems to be some underlying stuff going on. It's like, well, I think I kind of made a mistake. When I look at all the numbers, I really cannot afford to do this right now. But I'm pissed. They pissed me off, and I don't want to do this anymore. But when I really think about it, I can't. And so what comes to mind for me is the word that I always talk about, and you all know it's one of my favorite words. It's called choices, right? And so, I'm hoping you guys can see this pretty good. Choices, really, really, really important word. Why? Because it means that you can pretty much do, within reason, whatever it is you want to do. And why is that important? Because after all, why do you live your life? Within the boundaries of the law and based on morals and integrity, doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, the way you want to do it. As I said, within reason. I'm not talking about some way out lawlessness stuff, but you want to be able to live your life with making the choices that you feel are best for you. And if you haven't planned properly, right? Planning, if you have not planned properly, guess what? That choice is going to elude you. You will not be able to make that decision. Now, we all think about probably one of the I guess most familiar things that come to mind around being able to tell your job, go to your job and tell your boss, to shove it or to take this job. I think that quote is take this job and shove it, or whatever the case may be, or whether you want to do something a little bit more genteel and go in and let them know it's been great working with them for the last however many years, and you really don't want to do this anymore, and it's regrettable, but you're going to have to part ways. I mean, whether you want to be on one extreme or the other, the choice is yours. Is really the reason why you get up every morning and do what you do to make a living. And in doing so, you take care and provide for your family. You have those special moments that money will afford you. You make a lot of choices. But now, the one area in our lives that we just kind of brush it to the side is the area of this thing called money, right? Money. It's like I hear more people, and I don't mean any harm, but I hear more people, particularly church folk, who talk about They don't have to really pay a whole lot of attention to it. They're going to just pray to God, and He's going to make everything work. And don't get me wrong, I've been in some situations where I've done all that I could do. There have been folks that I've witnessed who have done all that they can do, and prayer works. Let me tell you something. They say faith without works is dead, right? And so you can go up in church and shout and do all the stuff you do and believe that it's going to show up if you want to. And I'm going to tell you something. If you ain't doing no work, you might not get the results you want. Now, again, there's some stuff that I talk about that I leave to the good pastors. For those of you who believe devoutly, God bless you, and you follow their lead. But as it relates to this conversation, right, choices in your life happen is a direct result of your ability to make reasonable choices, is a direct result of the money. If the money is not there, you can make a choice, but you're gonna have some challenges, right? So she decides she's gonna do this, and she's stressing and looking at, with a retirement program, she's gonna get a decent retirement, a lot better than a lot of folks, but it's gonna probably take about 3 or 4 months before it kicks in. Now, if you separate from your job, and in order for you to get paid to resume the lifestyle that you have been currently living, and it's going to take you 3 months, what does that mean? You've got to have 3 months of your expenses as well as your fund money to get to that point, right? If you don't have that, folks, 3 months, do you know that the average person that files bankruptcy does so because they're short in their budget $400, right? $400. So let's go here. Bankruptcy. The problem is they don't have $400. That's how much they're short, pretty much every month. So what happens is, fortunately she was able, after talking with her, doing her exit interview and getting all that stuff prepared, she was able to go back and rescind that, because in the federal government you have an opportunity to do that right up until the last day. I'm not sure if that's the way it works in private industry, but so she did. Now, immediately what was noticeable immediately was the stress was going, right? Isn't that interesting, right? Money, choices, stress, how you living. And so now her efforts are all about making plans and provisions for that 3-month gap. Yeah, if she'd been everyday wealth ready, that would have been taken care of years ago or months ago. But in this case, she's able to make a decision, reverse the decision that she made hastily out of emotion. And so she now has gotten herself back onto a plan, and we're working out the numbers and exactly what's going where and how much. And that problem will be solved. So, what could have potentially been a very bad situation seems to have kind of righted itself and is back now on track. So, choices, this is a big deal. And you know what? Choices kind of like money, kind of like air. You don't miss it until you don't have it anymore. When you run out of choices, folks, you're left with whatever it is you get. And so I wanted to kind of shout that out, just let you know, as a client, when I share any stories that involve you, even though I don't use any names, and, no one will ever know unless you kind of chime in and say, oh, that was me. No one will ever know. But even before I use your story, particularly if it can be of a benefit or blessing to someone else, I check in with you first just to make sure it's okay and get your permission. So now, the other quick thing I want to talk about, because we're coming into the tax season, right? And so there are a couple of things I wanted to share with you. I'm really excited about the day I had. As I said, I got to visit my brother, got to see a guy that I hadn't seen in probably 15 years at the same time, talked to a couple of family members and put some things together for one of my businesses, and everything is looking up and bright. And so there are a lot of different things going through my head about what it was I wanted to talk about. One of the choices was to kind of, I'm here on site at PG College. I don't know if you all can tell, but, I'm in a in a different kind of environment, I'll kind of show you. This is, auditorium kind of thing, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? So hopefully I can set this back up in a way that will allow me to do this. Let me run around real quick and see. Yeah, it's good. All right, so let me just see how long I've been broadcasting. Right, so real quick. I'm gonna do this real quick, right? So tax time. So I was gonna talk to you about qualified versus non-qualified and tax-free, but this can get a little complicated. So what I'm gonna do is this, really quickly, right? One of the reasons why, I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of advanced stuff, if you will. I talk about the importance of budgeting and knowing where your money is and being intentional in how you spend it, right down to the lights and the gas and the water and all that. And I know that's boring stuff, right? Really boring. But let me tell you something. It's necessary. If you want to learn to play basketball and be really good at it, what do you have to learn to do first? Got to learn to dribble, right? And so dribbling is an essential part of moving around and about the court in order to advance the ball and dunk it or shoot it, whatever the case may be. So having a budget in place and understanding how to set that budget up in a way that it will work for you and make your money and allow you to maximize the use of your money is an essential part of your financial responsibility to you, and as I always say, more importantly, your children, because they don't always hear what you say, but they absolutely always see what you do. And guess what? They tend to do what you do, right? So all the parents know that, right? So I was talking with a friend of mine. He's like, King, I need you to help me set my business up, this, that, and the third. And I'm saying, okay, well, he's like, well, why do I need to go this route or whatever? And I was like, really, there's so many benefits. It's really not smart not to. Everybody should have a small-based business, home-based business or small business, right? And so real quick, what I did was I said, okay, take the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Mrs. I don't know. Give me a name, Mr. and Mrs. Dollar. How about that? All right. And then we take, I'm going to use red. No, I don't want to use red. I'm going to use green. Mr. and Mrs. Business. And I'm going to abbreviate that. Right? I hope you guys can see that I am really kind of like, I'm hoping that this is on the board. I don't know if I need to move over here more or what. Let me just kind of take a peek real quick. See if you can see that. Awesome. You can see it. Problem is you can't get any closer. All right. So if these guys right here earn $100,000 a year combined household, right? Decent salary. Good stuff. These guys over here earn the same $100,000 per year, right? But this is business plus salary, right? Well, all things, although they may look the same, are not equal, right? Mr. and Mrs. Dollar, who are making $100,000 a year together, are going to end up 9 out of 10 times paying more taxes than Mr. and Mrs. Business. Why is that? Because the government, if you look at the turn of the 19th century, the government, most buildings, most families operated a home-based business or storefront business. If you go in some of your older cities or areas in older part of cities and towns, you'll see that a lot of the structures had little storefronts, right? And so the reason for that is because most people own their own business. And so it would only make sense that the tax laws would be structured in a way to favor folks who did business, right? So back then, 80% of the population owned a business. 20% of the population work for those individuals that own the business. Now it's flipped, right? 80 to 90% of the population works for 10% of the business owners, 10 to 20% of the business owners. Now, that's interesting, right? So, because of the way the tax laws were written, and I'm going to highly recommend that you talk to your accountant or your CPA and get clear on this. Don't take my word for it. It's a little outside of what it is that I specialize in. My thing is debt elimination and wealth creation, right? Just happens to be that businesses and taxes and those kind of things are a part of it. I'm not qualified to give you any advice or advise you as such, but I can talk about the subject and highly and strongly recommend that you talk to your accountant about this, okay? Now, so that's the two families, $100,000. At best, they're going to get a deduction on the, so let's look at the deductions, right? So let's do that in red. So they get deductions. Wow. Deductions. Home, right? What else they get? You all know. Type it in, right? They get kids. And again, you need to check me on this. I think you only can get 2 of the kids. I'm not sure. But kids. You get head of household, right? Right? What else? So when I say deduction on home, you get the interest write-off on the home. You get the credits for the kids, and you get head of household. I'm not really sure about any of the other. You get medical, right? Again, check with your accountant on this, right? Now, and so at the end of the day, let's say all of these things together total, let's just say $30,000, right? $30,000. You get to subtract from the 100. So what that means is you pay taxes on approximately $70,000, right? Very good, right? So now let's say that you are the folks, Mr. and Mrs. Business, because they have a business off the break. So they're going to get this, they're going to get the home, they're going to get the kids, they're going to get the household, they're going to get the medical. But here's the other deal, right? So they get, let's give them this, let's give them home. They get home. You guys should really be paying attention to this one. They get the kids. They get head of household, right? Head of household. They get med. But here's the other big one that they get, right? They get the whopping 138 different line items as a result of doing business. Now, if they do business out of their home, they can write off a portion. The IRS allows you to deduct the square footage of the room or whatever that you use from. So if it's 125 square feet and that square footage is 10% of the space of your house, I think you get to write off 10% of your mortgage and, all of those things, right? So you get 130, you get the, cell phone, you get your cable, you get all the things that you use, internet, what else? Uniforms, if you have them. There are so many mileage on your car when you're doing business. Oh my God, there are so many. Dinners, when you go out, your dinners become, you guys are discussing business as a family. So there's 138 different line items. You get to deduct. That's huge. So now let's say after they do all of this, their deductions are $60,000. Because the government, the IRS, allows them to do that. So you minus 60. So now they have left over $40,000 that is taxable. This is taxable. Right? So who do you think pays more taxes? Mr. and Mrs. Dollar or Mr. and Mrs. Business? Right? Answer's pretty clear. Taxes on $70,000 is higher than taxes on 40. Folks, the government really is, because they're pro-business and they really are pro-investment and they're they really are pro-advancing the family and opportunities. Because think about it, you grow your business large enough, you can now hire other employees. And so what have you done? You've contributed to reducing the unemployment rate. And those individuals now pay taxes. It's a good thing. In this situation here, it's kind of stagnant. No growth is taking place. It's just income and then, a minor deduction. Now, I remember, I was probably in my 20s, I remember when you could deduct the interest on your credit cards. Can't do that anymore. There were a lot of interest, there were a lot of tax deductions that you could get, even as just a W-2 earner, right? That you just can't take advantage of anymore, right? So it's real important to understand the difference. As a business, as a family, but even as a small home-based business, that this model works out a lot better for you. And you think about it, the difference between $40,000 being taxed and $70,000, if you save that money over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it's a substantial piece. You put it to work for you in some sort of a investment that will bring back, whatever, 8, 10% return. You can see how that money grows. Look, I'm going to sign off. I've been on, I think I got on at 12 past, so that makes me at about close to 30 minutes. Folks, I want to thank you again. Remember, I'm going to be on travel tomorrow in the friendly skies, heading on the West Coast to hang out with, I hope he doesn't see. He's not on Facebook. Hang out with my son. I'm going to surprise him Saturday for his birthday, big celebration we're having, 21. So look, you're probably not going to hear me if I can sneak something in during my layover. I think because I just got this ticket maybe 3 days ago, I think I got a crazy flights, but I think there's like a 3-hour layover somewhere in the Midwest. I may shoot something from there depending on internet service or whatever. But remember, there's life after debt, right? And if you have a predictable income, meaning you earn a check every week, 2 weeks, or once a month, we can help you move your life from ordinary to extraordinary and live the life that you desire and deserve, right? Awesome. Have a great night. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll try and broadcast Saturday, even if it's from the party. Love you guys. Be safe. God bless you. Good night.